Hi, I'm Jane BEGGS-JOLES, and I'm the Landscape Program Manager here at Proven Winners Color Choice. I have a really great job, and one of the really cool things I get to do is talk to landscapers. And it got really awesome this summer because in August I got to go to one of my favorite places, wild, wonderful West Virginia. Now, if you've ever been to West Virginia, you know that when you drive in West Virginia, you're either going up a hill or you're going down a hill, which is pretty cool. That's what makes it wild and wonderful for things like hiking and skiing and whitewater rafting. Landscaping, though, it's kind of a challenge in some ways. You do have grade like everywhere you go, and then you've also got maybe a job up on top of a mountain, or maybe a job down in a valley, or a job somewhere in between. You got to be able to do it all. And Jason does that. This is some nice footage of my friend Jason Testman, who is in beautiful West Virginia, and he's doing an awesome job in all the challenges that West Virginia has, which, let's see, elevation and grade. Oh, and I mentioned it's wild and wonderful. There's a lot of wildlife there, and that means deer. And he manages to do it all, and his landscapes look great. So I think you're really going to enjoy hearing from him.
I'm Jason Testman, landscape architect with TerraCare in Charleston, West Virginia. Today we are in the Greenbrier Valley in White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia. This is one of the neighborhoods that we were fortunate enough to work in. Challenges that we face in a property like this: we're on rocky soil, it dries out pretty quickly. There's a constant prevailing wind that blows through here and dries out the property. So we have to be very careful in the plant material that we choose. Another big challenge that we have is the deer population here is relentless. And since we've developed in an area that was their habitat, they're still looking for food here. One genus of plant that does quite well in that kind of environment are spirea. We like the double play spirea. It's more of a unique spirea. It's kind of newer to us. We like its reblooming habit. You can see the beautiful new red growth that's coming out. With regards to deer, these plants are virtually deer-proof for us. Another thing that we like about them is you can see how healthy this foliage is, and it almost has that bluish green tint to it rather than, you know, just the regular green. That combination of the blooms, the nice color on the foliage, the red tint on the new growth, the deer resistance, and as long as spirea are watered in well on initial planting, they tolerate the heat quite well. So the heat and the drought, not necessarily an issue as long as you're taking care of them when they're initially planted. Not only do these spirea work in a residential or resort home setting, but they also work very well in a commercial property setting. Shopping centers, parking lots, hospitals, anywhere where you're going to have a lot of heat, they do fine. Many years ago, we completed the landscape design and installation at a shopping center south of Pittsburgh, and we used hundreds of reblooming roses, and they all got rosette. Another company was taking care of the property and called us with a 911 emergency and just needed a suggestion for what could replace those plants. We kind of struggled to come up with something, but after doing some research, our first exposure to the double play spirea was at that shopping center. It was a suggestion that we made, and fortunately, we were enough to find enough of them to use. And I mean, since that replacement took place 3 years ago, we've heard nothing but good things from the company that maintains the property and the property owner. Now we're at a different property, much higher in the mountains, and this project was unique in that there are two very important separate sections of the house, and this is the connector where the homeowner gets from, you know, one use area to the other use area. This is an open view out into the front landscape of their home, and it's very important to them. We used a combination of things. There are some Sargent cherries here, some vase-shaped, upright, compact form trees that won't get too big, or they may eventually block the view, but the view should be pretty spectacular when they're in full bloom. But there's another spot that you can't see behind me where there's almost like a vault with a ladder that gets down to just an important utility access space for the house. And it was very important to the homeowner that this be hidden, but we also not mess with the view out of this window. Bobo hydrangea worked perfectly in that regard. The compact shape that we get out of it, and if you can just see how happy they are in this location, how profusely they bloom, you know, it's like a compact version of limelight that still produces the same amount of blooms, but doesn't get quite so large. So here on top of Greenbrier Mountain, we also have some deer issues, and at this property, after much conversation, we had decided to use some oak leaf hydrangea, and unfortunately the deer found them and just completely slaughtered them. We had to come up with an alternative, and Viburnum nudum has been one of our deer-proof plants, and Clethra has also proven to be quite deer-resistant for us. The varieties you see in the back, Brandywine and Sugartina in the front, they're doing quite well for us. What we like about the Brandywine are the 3 seasons of color, where you get the beautiful white flowers, you get the fruit that turns to blue as the fall color comes in and gives you that beautiful scarlet red. You just get that red, white, and blue color throughout the year, 3 seasons of color. It's got that nice waxy broad leaf to it. And the Clethra, a little bit different texture, but it also has that different flower. Really the most important thing was that they were deer resistant, but in addition to that, they also have nice ornamental value. Another dimension of this landscape plan that we had to make sure we included was some profuse spring bloomers. And everybody knows when you see the forsythia in bloom, it's very dramatic, but a lot of times in a tight setting in a residential environment, forsythias can get quite wild and quite big. But Off Starlet is a much more lower profile, compact forsythia. It works great as a bloomer. It's also something that not only can the homeowner control, but the landscape company that maintains the property can also control easily.